Who's all ready to go down to Florida and have some good old alligator? Tastes real good. Oh yeah. That's my impersonation of a Florida man. What do you think? What's up, everyone? It's your boy Matt Diazable coming at you with the new music review. Thanks for coming on by. You the best. We the best. We out here doing it. Oh yeah. Today I'm checking out the latest release from a band called Heavy Hitter with their newest EP called Coming to Terms. If you've never heard of Heavy Hitter, they are an Orlando, Florida hardcore, deathcore, metalcore band that mixes all these different elements together. And I think they've been around since about 2018, 2017, if I'm correct. I can't remember too much off the top of my head. Correct me if I'm wrong. I checked them out a while ago. Their last EP called Moments of Misery. I'll put that down below and everything. I checked the band out because one of my good friends, my twin essentially, recommended me this band because he lives out in Florida and he's always giving me recommendations, always watching my channel. So twin, I always appreciate you. You the best. You know who you are. And yeah, so I've been keeping tabs on this band for a while now. And just like my friend in Florida, he's been keeping me up to date with the band that they just released a new EP, which is this. And so I was super stoked to check it out, listen to it a couple of times and see how I feel about it and give my thoughts on it. So let's check it out. So this latest EP from Heavy Hitter, Coming to Terms, is, a band that is continuing their dedication to just pure, unrelenting, heavy music. And true to the band's name, the record hits like a force like you would not know. Dense bass tones, punishing breakdowns, and deep guttural vocals that feel as massive as ever. And so the band is building off their foundation from their last EP, Moments of Misery. And so this release feels more, it refines their sound more than reinvents it. Because here they're leaning really hard into some groovy and atmospheric moments while still keeping that aggression up front and center for, what they're known for being heavy hitters. And so the EP opens up with the song Eat Your Words, which is a very slow, deliberate burn that really establishes the mood right away. And so its deep bass and slow grinding rhythm really give this song a sense of gravity to it. It's like the floor is just dropping out beneath you right before the band detonates it with just a wall of sound around you. I think the band knows this, that, they're not trying to be flashy, they're not trying to be experimental, but they're just being pretty simple in terms of just showing their strength. And that is massive, sludgy, and just heavy statement of like pure hardcore metal intent. And I would say on this track, the band's rhythm section really shines here, particularly the drummer, because they're puncturing the slower moments with some really tasteful and nice cymbal taps and some really thunderous fills that keep, the momentum very alive throughout this track and throughout most of the heavy parts on this song. And so then we carry on to the other tracks on this EP, Nurtured by Anger and Coming to Terms, which really carry the EP forward in terms of like blending their signature sound of chugging riffs and deep growling bass tones. Nurtured by Anger is really living up to the name of the song. It feels like pure catharticism, propelled by really snappy drums and a low end that feels really thick and satisfying and just really punches so well. And like I said before, the band, they're not breaking new ground here. They're just executing what they're doing very well here by being very sharp, having really clean production, and a groove that is just infectious. Coming to Terms, on the other hand, kind of shows a bit of a contrast with the band because they're bringing some subtle like layers and shifts to their sound, especially in terms of the tempo. So it really showcases that the band is growing in terms of their confidence as songwriters. And the collaboration from Yusuf really adds a nice refreshing contrast with her smaller, more emotive vocal delivery here, cutting through the mix and, offering a nice, relief from everything, switching things up a bit before they just plunge back into almost like a chainsaw-like assault on the riffs. And then we have the song From Bloodless, which kind of dips into some familiar heavy hitter style of heavy music playing, but it adds a little bit of groove and swagger to the overall mix of this song. And that swagger is, you know, like that early 2010s metalcore, deathcore, Ymir, like Winds of Plague, stuff like that. It's got that groove to it that's been missing in a lot of heavy music these days. The production really helps this track out a lot, keeping it really sharp and fresh, because the band does kind of lean into some songwriting that is a bit predictable, but the strong production really helps elevate the overall sound and feel of the song. And Yasmin's guest vocals on this track really injects new life to the band's overall repertoire and the song's final moments, because they are channeling a new metal-esque style of aggression that gives the track a little bit of an unexpected spark of attitude to it. And then you have the closing song, Extinguish Them All, which kind of shifts gears into more faster and more traditional metal style playing in the opening of the song. Blast beats, really fast guitar riffs, and just raw vocal delivery really solidify that metal sound they're going for in the beginning of this song. But then the band kind of slow things down with their signature style of bass heavy breakdowns, creating a very dynamic sound that's both familiar and quite satisfying. It's a fitting end to an EP that, you know, thrives on heaviness, even if it doesn't quite live up to being a very cinematic or climactic ending to the EP. It just ends on an okay note. But again, the production really helps save the overall style of the song. And just like their EP before them, Moments of Misery, Coming to Terms is just not really trying to, I guess you could say, redefine who the band is. They're just solidifying themselves by being heavier and harder here. It's simply doubling down on what they do best, and that is deliver heavy, thick, groovy music that is unapologetically punishing. And I gotta say, the production, again, it needs a lot of praise here, because it's very clean but doesn't sound too sterile, giving the bass and the drums a lot of room to breathe while without like sacrificing any of the guitar's grit. And then you have the vocals, guttural, raw, and just very commanding, cement the band's, like, I guess you could say, identity as one of the heaviest and probably most consistent hardcore metal bands coming out of the Florida underground scene. So at the end of the day, Coming to Terms, this new EP from Heavy Hitter, is doing what they do best, and that is creating dense, groovy metalcore that is, you know, thriving on sheer weight and conviction. There's little innovation here, but, you know, they don't really need to do that, because they've doubled down on what they do best, and that is make heavy music that is built for headbanging and not overthinking. It may not be an EP that's going to surprise you or wow you, but it's going to absolutely for sure floor you with just how heavy and consistent the band has been. So this latest release from Heavy Hitter, Coming to Terms, I've got to come to terms with just how heavy and how good this band is. So I got to give it up to them. They did a great job here. It's a good and solid 9 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this band. What other Florida bands I should check out? And until next time, guys, see you in the pit. Good things about you.